We showed in the previous post how to use one of the tools within the hatch command to simplify the filling of an area that it's going to, in our legend, will denote a garden bed. Let's just try it again. But before we do, notice that I have my color set at 249, a soft color that matches the color here, and I'm on a layer called garden beds, and we're going to try that hatch again. But again, before we do, there's two parts to what we did. One was to fill that space with a hatch, and the other, if we pick the polyline itself, we've set the properties of it to have a line weight of 0.6, to have it closed and not to fill. So you need to be aware, I think, of the subtlety. What we're going to do now is to add two elements to that space. One will be a solid fill, and one will be the polyline under it or associated with it. So let's go draw, hatch. We pick a point, and that's the big time saver, and we hit it, and gCADPlus radiates out. It doesn't do a perfect job. It's got a little extension there, but we may be able to work with it. But what we should get now is a sandy background that matches that hatch, and also a polyline which will probably be under it. So we'll hit enter and OK it. So there it comes in with our drawing color. I'm going to move it to the back just for the moment. That's the solid. And that should mean we can pick up the polyline correctly, and we do. So we need to just do a little bit of editing to it, but we may well be able to use the modify and match properties tool, provided we're a little bit careful. We need to pick that one. We've picked that polyline. We want to make the properties of one polyline match the other, and we're done. So by being a little bit careful, we managed the same trick. At this stage, I'd probably want to reduce the thickness of that polyline to say 0.4, but I'm going to leave it that way at the moment because let's go back to view and background color black. I'm quite happy with that now, that it's working reasonably well. I've only got a couple of plants or 3 plants here, and maybe I'll bring those also to the front. Doesn't change things much, does it? We need to add some more planting elements along here. So I think we could probably pick that polyline again, get that grip and move it to that point there, and that just fixes up that little editing problem. I still prefer to work in model space with a dark background. Then I know that I can look at one of the layouts, and that'll help me see what it's going to be like. So layouts with a white background, same drawing file, now model space with a dark background. It's also, if you're doing a lot of work, this is a little kinder on your eyes, whereas when you're in a layout space, it tends to pull the things out a little. You'll notice down here in the status line, a grid is on. That helps you, if needed, to line various floating viewpoints up with a grid. I don't need it just for the moment, so I shall turn it off. We can apply the same hatching technique to this area through here, which will be a lawned area, and there's another zone there. Let's do this one first, this lower one, and I notice this is a symbol, C plant 25, but there's also some, if I use a crossing window through that zone, I've picked up a circle and 2 polylines, so I don't think that's needed at all. And I think because there are so many vertices in that area that the smart hatch tool is going to have some, oh, here's another one, some difficulty dealing with it. So I'll just save that to be safe. And now let's try the hatch. I am going to take one extra precaution, and that is I've got a layer, let's look at it, called temp, and it's no longer on. So what I can do is select this symbol. I'm just worried that the smart technology is not going to find what it wants because of all the little branches. So we'll pop that onto the temp layer. It disappears, but we can also lock that temp layer so that it shouldn't take any part. Let's now have a little test of our hatch option and pick a point. And look at that, bang, it works really, really easily and gives us the order we want. And it's going to be put on a lawns layer up here. Actually, what I'm going to illustrate, what I'm going to do is we'll do it to try and do it again. We'll take the lock key off and we'll leave it visible. For the moment, we'll just erase that. So it was I have some fears, so let's try it again. It'll probably prove me wrong and work well, but we'll try. So everything is visible to it now. So let's hatch and pick a point and see gCADPlus is spinning its wheel. So I think we're wise to put the really complex shapes out onto their own locked layer. Well, let's try again. It's draw, hatch, pick a point and click in there, and we've done enter and OK it. So here's our solid color, which we want to change to some sort of green. I would think I've got a fairly pale green set here. And now we might want to add a hatch pattern to it. We'll select the new hatch pattern and push it to the back. That will enable us then to pick the polyline, which we now would like to put another hatch onto it. Not sure if we can do it, but we'll try. Hatch, what we're after now, on top of this, we'd like to be able to put a grass pattern. We keep an eye on the density, and that's 180, so let's bring it to 10. We're really trying to get to, we'll go to 100. A density of about 1 or 2 is fine, so we'll try that. And I guess, so we've actually got our hatch pattern, but I forgot rather, that I should have not used a defined color. We just want to go by layer just for the moment, and we'll reduce the scale a little to 50, and we'll hit enter. And I'm interested to see how that will go. The hatch pattern is there. Let's come to 25, and that's fine. And I want to just check on the layout. Yeah, that's fine. So it's picking up the hatch pattern there. So we've got a solid hatch, and on top of it is a grass pattern hatch. So to manage that, you need to be aware of the solid hatch and then the polyline that underlies it, and you're applying a second hatch to that polyline. So one really does need to keep wits about ourselves. So I hope that is interesting. Of course, it all worked much more smoothly the second time around. Let's have a look at the layout. Again, we know the hatch is there, so we need to come back, select, and move the solid fill to the back. Now let's return to the layout, and there we are. So I think we're making progress. Looking at this, we might well want to put a Corten edge around to define it, but I think that's getting a little unnecessary.